Hello and welcome to today's screencast, which is going to be on the respiratory system, which is our new topic. So we've just covered the cardiovascular system and we looked at the structure and function of the cardiovascular system, the malfunctions of the cardiovascular system and how we monitor and treat individuals that are having issues with malfunctions with regards to the cardiovascular system. So, as I said, today's lesson and today's topic, or the next topic we're going to be studying, is going to be on the respiratory system. We need to look at the malfunctions of the respiratory system as well as the structure and the function. So, contents that we need to be aware of. We need to know structure of the respiratory system. So, we are going to be looking at the structure and function in terms of breathing, so inspiration and expiration. We are going to be looking at gaseous exchange because we breathe in oxygen, expire carbon dioxide, but we need gaseous exchange to take place for that to occur. Cellular respiration. We're also going to be looking at the malfunctions and possible causes and effects on the individual who is dealing with these malfunctions, as well as monitoring treatment and care needs for those individuals that are dealing with respiratory problems. Okay, so first of all, structure of the respiratory system. We need to be aware that the respiratory system is all about breathing in oxygen or exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide. So we can breathe in oxygen and then we can expire or breathe out carbon dioxide, which could potentially be poisonous for us. So that is the main function of the respiratory system, and this is how it is done. If you get your worksheets out and you can get this information down, we have got the epiglottis. Okay, this is just a flap that prevents food going down the trachea. Okay, so our larynx, which is our voice box. Then we've got our trachea, which is also known as our windpipe, and this splits up into two bronchus, okay, or bronchi, and we have two, one going into the right lung and one going into the left lung. And then at the after the bronchus or bronchi, we have these tree-like structures which are known as bronchioles, as it says there. And in the bronchioles we have the alveoli, which are one cell thick, and this is where gaseous exchange takes place. We also have pleural membranes here, which are really important when we breathe in and breathe out. It reduces friction, and they actually indirectly attach to the lungs. We have pleural cavity here, all the way around, and on this side as well. We've got the ribs are here. And in between the ribs we have got these pink things here are representing our intercostal muscles. The line goes here, but it's actually this pink thing here, which are intercostal muscles. Intercostal, our ribs are also known as costal bones or costal ribs, so they're in between each rib. Okay, so they're really important for breathing in and out as well. And finally, the last thing I'm going to mention here is the diaphragm, and that is this dome-shaped muscle, which again is really important for the function of inspiration and expiration. When we breathe in, this muscle here contracts and it pulls down, it flattens, which basically opens up our rib cage so we can allow loads of air in. And then during expiration, it moves back up to this natural position here, which means air is just forced out of our lungs, up our trachea, and breathed out. So that's the structure of the respiratory system. We need to know the function of certain key elements, which I've pretty much just gone through. However, you need to get it written down. So we should have structure, trachea, function, also known as a windpipe, and it is the throat, and it is kept open by rings of cartilage. Okay, so air passes from the atmosphere outside down the trachea to our bronchi. Now our bronchi are those two large tubes that led from the trachea into each of our lungs. I do not mind if you're pausing this, if you're going back to have a look at each of these structures as I speak about their function. Our bronchioles are those tree-like structures I mentioned that are smaller branching tubes that are found between the bronchi and the alveoli. Air passes through these to get to the alveoli. Now, the alveoli is where the magic happens, so this is where gaseous exchange takes place. So these are tiny elasticated cavities, and they're found in the lungs at the end of our bronchioles. They're one cell thick and have a really large surface area. They're wrapped around by capillaries, which means that loads of oxygen can go from our alveoli, because we've breathed in air which is full of oxygen, into our alveoli. Gases move from our alveoli. Oxygen moves from our alveoli into the bloodstream because the capillaries are there, and what happens is carbon dioxide, which is carried, that deoxygenated blood that's carried by the blood vessels into the lungs, carbon dioxide goes from the bloodstream into the alveoli and we breathe it out. So you need to be aware of the intercostal muscles. We've got two sets. We've got internal and external intercostal muscles, and these are located between the ribs, as I said earlier. Now these cause the ribs to move up and out during inspiration, and then down and in during expiration. We also have the diaphragm, which is another muscle. Okay, and this is that dome-shaped muscle that I showed you, and this is responsible for increasing and decreasing the thoracic cavity during inspiration and expiration. The thoracic cavity is just that whole area that you've just seen a picture of, basically. Okay, so don't get too caught up over that. And then finally, we have got pleural membranes. So these are found around each lung as a double set of coverings, and these are crucial to lungs during inflation and deflation, as well as preventing friction when the lungs move, i.e. when we inflate and the lungs have to expand, and then when they breathe out, and then when they deflate. So it's really important for that. And make sure your notes on this are asking questions that give you the answer of the structure. So for example, you'd get this information down and you would say, which structure is kept open by rings of cartilage and allows air to pass through down to the bronchi? The answer is the trachea. For bronchi, I would have, these are two large tubes that lead into our lungs, or into each lung. It's the bronchi, and so forth. So make sure you've got questions on each one of these that are giving you the answer of these structures, how I told you to set out the corner notes originally. Okay, hopefully you've got that, and I'll see you in lesson on Tuesday. Thank you. Bye.